This is the Griffin Podcast, episode number 91. We're in our agent plan this week, and the question on the table is, do you have a real estate agent job or business? Are you a home seller or buyer who has questions about selling or buying residential property? Or maybe you're an agent who needs a plan, but you can't find an easy way to get your answers? Well, then, hey, you are definitely in the right place. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of The Griffin and the host of the Ask-A-Griffin podcast. And to help you take immediate action to get started in the right direction, if you're a seller, buyer, or agent, you can take advantage of our free step-by-step guides that are waiting for you at griffincourses.com. That's Griffin courses.com. griffincourses.com. Free step-by-step guides for you. All right, we're in our agent plan, and we do have 3 plans at the Griffin. And one is for sellers, buyers, agents, each of those, very individual, what to do plans. So that with or without us, whether you actually end up doing formal business with us, there's guidance there for you. But in this episode, we start again in our agent plan where we really have to get down to the very first eye-popping moment. And that is the question on the table, or actually the statement in this case, to answer the question, does a real estate agent have a job or a business? It's simple. If the agent is an independent contractor, then that agent owns a business. Think about what we're saying here. Independent contractor. Now, there are some companies in this industry that have employees, and they make a pretty big employee promise. And I don't have to tell you who they are. You can find them yourself. They're companies that I would compete with. But I would tell you right now, that's a very tall order to take a real estate agent and turn them into an employee. Why? Because the business is a tricky business to grow. And that company needs to be able to produce predictable and sustainable lead generation that gets converted to really almost a client stage. Yes, somewhat of a prospect stage, meaning there are all sorts of people who are whimsically searching and thinking about buying or selling a property. Then there's a conversation or some process that happens that identifies they have a real why to do so inside the next 12 months is the way I would frame it. And that there's really true motivation, that meaning that person is getting through the emotional sticking points and getting ready to take action. Well, that takes a lot for one company to make that promise. And I know this because I've coached my sister company, the Realty Classroom. You can look at the content over there. I coach still to this day top producers across the world, really Northern Hemisphere stuff, Canada, United States. When you look at the biggest challenges that those folks face, is that they have to try to grow a team, and they're trying to promise these agents that are coming on to their team that they're going to provide them business. That's really tremendous pressure when that team doesn't even really know how to acquire and convert prospects on a regular basis for itself at the core. So we have a real dilemma here. We're really battling to try to change a universal truth about the way that the real estate agent business works in the majority by far. And that is, real estate agents have for a very long time in the majority been an independent contractor. So let's put that on the table as the premise. And at the Griffin, that's our premise. And that's the way that we do business. We believe that we are a central agency that is primarily in the training and coaching business. And of course, internally, our experienced independent contractors are assigned to be mentors so that in the heat of the moment, in the heat of the deal, when an agent really needs mentoring on that deal, somebody's available. So we break it down into TCM, training. Here are the plans that we follow that keep our bone structure solid. Coaching, how to go for you out there. Okay, make these adjustments. Mentoring, you need some help right then and there. So as an agency and an agency owner, in my case, I could put myself under that tremendous pressure to make sure that that structure's there. But if I start to make a lot of promises beyond that, I think that's a dangerous premise. And I would warn everybody who thinks that you can pull off the employee model. I've seen it tried over many, many years, and it's difficult. And I'll tell you why. I think fundamentally at the core, I like the endeavor. It's a good idea. I mean, a lot of promises for stock options and healthcare and all this stuff. Great. But what if we could empower a real estate agent to really grow a business where they could go do those things for themselves and have a full sense of fulfillment, a full sense of accomplishment. I like that better. I'd rather be known as somebody who really tried to empower that individual business with the help of my core consulting business, right? And I see my brokerage that way. So I think that's a really important thing to just, let's get this on the table. Independent contractors own a business. So that's the premise here. Second point, not knowing business basics in that context is why most of those independent contractors fail. And when I say fail, the reality, the truth of what happens in this business, and you can find it in any multiple listing service. You could have somebody show you the statistics. I know we get a little worried about showing, the inside of our statistics, but why? If we look inside of these MLSs, we will see there is an enormity of licensed real estate agents who pay that MLS, who become a realtor by label by joining that local association, the National Association of Realtors, and they really go in to try to professionalize themselves, and they sell nothing in an entire year. I'm telling you, no matter whether markets are good or bad, that's a reality of our business. Now, I believe that's a problem worth solving. I believe that's something to put on the table and say, okay, what's going on here? I mean, of course, if that's somebody's predilection to pay something and professionally and feel like they want to belong to something and they don't mind losing that money because they belong to something and it's an educational endeavor and they just want to maintain it, I get it. That's fine. But I'm talking about if we just take the whole distribution of agents in any multiple listing service, why are so few of them doing so little? The ones that are trying to do anything. Because really, over the years, you would always see the national average number of sales around 3. 3 sales in an entire year. And when I tell people that, they're shocked. They can't even believe it because they come from businesses that are more transactional and every day there's something happening. But we do deal in big ticket items, so you don't have to do that many transactions to make it the equivalent of having a corporate job, for example. But 3's not enough. And so the endeavor here is to expose why that happens. And so let's call 3 really a struggle. And let's call 0 a real pain point and real failure. And it's simply because these willing people, and I know because we're expanding in 5 states right now, and we're meeting a lot of young people that are bright-eyed and excited. And when we sit, and I sit with Lauren, my head recruiter, and we do this conversation back and forth, you can see their eyes light up and they just can't believe what they're hearing. No, those are the ones that are listening. Of course, you have people come in and they're biased and they've already made their decision. Oh my gosh, it's like watching somebody run right into, a brick wall. Learn the hard way, I suppose. I was like that too, so I'm guilty too. But boy, not knowing business basics inside of real estate can really hurt you. For example, what business basics? That you really need to know how the real estate agent business would work for you. You have to know things about how to market your unique services. You have to know how to go out and acquire new business. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on. You don't just show up and think you know a few friends from high school that are now going to be buying and their parents are going to be buying. Really? So when you show up against somebody who's professional, has a resume, has a plan, you think you're going to be able to do that on muscle, you will fail. You will struggle. And I don't want to see that happen. So not knowing business basics is why most agents fail. Now, the third point here is the obvious. All real estate agents, all from beginner to top producer, need a solid plan with good bones. See, I'm a believer after teaching this and doing this for so many years that there is a fundamental simplicity, these immutable laws that we all follow. And by the way, they're all outlined in our plans. Those, to me, are the bones of an agent plan, a seller plan, and a buying plan. It's what to do. It's discovery over a long period of time that I've done, and I continue to update those plans because my level of understanding of them gets simpler. I'm able to communicate that to agents, sellers, and buyers in a simpler way to empower them to make a decision. But you have to have a plan. And a plan is not a couple of ideas from top producers who are hanging around after the office meeting, or a managing broker who's rooting you on and telling you just go talk to all your friends. Those aren't plans. They might be parts of plans, but they're not. All right? So there you go. In our agent plan, the question on the table this week is, do you have a real estate agent job or business? And the first point was, well, if you're an independent contractor, then you own a business. The second point would be, as that business owner, not knowing business basics is why most agents and their businesses fail. Have to learn those business basics. And third, of course, all real estate agents need a solid plan with good bones. I'll give you mine. Go get a copy of it. GriffinCourses.com. It's sitting there waiting for you, and you can have the bones of a real estate agent business now. Okay? All right, let me chunk it up and summarize it by saying the reason that most real estate agents struggle to sell more than the average 3 homes per year is because they don't realize that they're the owner of a business. For any business to be successful, of course, any business, it must have a plan with solid bones that keep it from collapsing on itself. Once an agent begins to exercise routines, just simple routines based on a simple plan, then and only then will a predictable and sustainable business begin to emerge. All right, remember now, of course, you can take immediate action, like I just said, and you get started in the right direction, especially if you're new to this business by getting the agent plan, or maybe you're going to sell your first house or buy your first house, whatever it is, you can get started in the right direction by getting a copy of any of our step-by-step guides, plans that are waiting for you at GriffinCourses.com. That's GRIFFIN courses.com. Also, don't forget, you can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen. We also post all our content on YouTube, and we're trying to do a better job on YouTube all the time so we're easily searchable, findable. And of course, you can subscribe to the Griffin channel when you find it over there, and you can turn on the notification so every time we do one of these and post this content, either you or somebody you know, and by the way, usually it's you or somebody you know is absolutely involved in a real estate transaction, send this stuff to them. Use it for yourself, but share the content, and we'd appreciate that. But remember this, nobody's coming for you. Nobody. So take action and get to work on a plan for buying or selling your next property or becoming a successful real estate agent like we talked about today. Go get working on your plan. Don't try to do all of this on muscle. It's a very difficult industry to mess around like that. And of course, we'll see you in the next episode to help you stay on the straight and narrow. Thanks for tuning in.